we could look and study. And there are examples of that. There have been excellent prayer studies now done by reputable scientists and reputable institutions such as Duke, Harvard, and the Mayo Clinic. These experiments have turned up negative, but they might not have. They might have produced strong evidence that God exists by finding that prayer does work. Billions of prayers are said every day. There must be some of them that will work once in a while. There's never been any sign that any of them work. And there are a number of other ways that God could have been detected that I talk about, such as revelation. He could reveal a truth that could not have been known any other way, and that would prove his existence. However, all the evidence points to a purely material universe, including the bodies and brains of humans, without the need to introduce soul, spirit, vital forces, anything immaterial. Plausible natural explanations exist for the origin of the universe, a natural origin of the universe, without a creator, and its laws, and also how the brain thinks, all purely material. Now, I'm sure you've heard about the fine-tuning argument that the universe seems to be fine-tuned for humanity. Well, that's not true, because while it is true that the constants of nature, physics in particular, things like the mass of the electron and electron charge and so on, if they were different, slightly different, life as we know it wouldn't exist on this planet. But there's no reason why. In fact, there's lots of studies now that indicate that there's a wide range of physical parameters that would lead to some kind of life, including the possibility of intelligent life that's just different from ours. So the fine-tuning argument doesn't work. Basically, science and religion are incompatible. Evolution implies humanity was an accident, and religions teach that humans are special when in fact we are not. We're marooned on this. I mean, the universe really doesn't look like it was made for humanity. We can't live any place but on this tiny little speck. We're not going to ever live any place except on this tiny little speck, because the chances of us as humans, with our current bodies at least, being able to travel outside of the solar system is zero, because it would be killed by cosmic rays before we even got to Jupiter, or maybe the outer planets, let's say, be Neptune or something. So the chance, and then the chance of finding a planet that we could live on, we've already said how fine-tuned everything is, that chance would be negligible. So we're stuck on the Earth. We're marooned, and the universe really doesn't look at all like it was designed with us in mind. I mean, if God had designed the universe for us, why couldn't he make it so that we could live every place, even out in space for that matter? Why would we have to live on planets? But we can't. So, in fact, from cosmology down to biology, the universe shows, when you look at it from a scientific perspective, you see no sign of design, despite the ancient argument from design where people say, well, how could all of this have come about naturally? Well, we have a pretty good idea that it all did come about naturally, and we have the mechanisms to at least plausibly explain how that happened. Now, what about morality? Most people think that morality comes from God. Well, this is wrong. This is wrong too. None of the sacred scriptures offer original moral teachings. That may come as a shock to many, but you can find all the teachings of the New Testament in particular, like the Golden Rule and so on, in earlier civilizations, in earlier cultures. And in many cases, certainly the Old Testament, anybody who reads the Old Testament can't believe that anyone would worship such a God, that evil figure that's the God of the Old Testament. But Jesus wasn't so great either. You read the New Testament, you'll see that he supported slavery and the repression of women and other teachings that we now consider immoral. So I wouldn't consider Jesus or anybody in the Bible a exemplar of morality. Where did morality come from? Well, it came from our own humanity, having to live together, having to find a way as we grew, as the population grew and people lived closer and closer together, how to live together without killing each other and having a dysfunctional society. Now, I'm getting close to the end. There's a common belief that religion is growing in the world. That's just not true. You look at, again, all these, when I say something is not true, I mean it's not true looking at the data. It's not true by observation. And here is just an example of the growth of people with no religious affiliation in the U.S. From 1988, 5% up to 2008, 12%. This is based on exit polls taken at during elections. And in fact, a fascinating figure is that there may be as many 30 to 40% of the age group 18 to 25 not being involved in any religion. Now, that doesn't mean that all of these people don't believe in some kind of power. Probably about half of them think, well, there must be something out there, some power. But once they learn about the science, you'll see that there's no necessity for such a hypothesis. I'd like to also mention that while religion is of course very popular in the United States, and most people belong to some religion, most Christians claim they're Christians. There are societies that, in Europe in particular, where belief is now very low. We're talking about 10%, 15%, and countries like Denmark and Sweden, here in Norway. This was a book by a sociologist who visited these countries and made surveys and showed that there was a strong correlation between these societies being well-adjusted, being happy. In fact, the society that the country that's the happiest, the nation that's the happiest on some scale, some survey that was taken, is Denmark, and Denmark was one of the least religious of the countries. Now, I think that this doesn't mean that theists and atheists can't work together to solve the world's problems. Just that atheists should not look away when religious beliefs intrude, as they often do. For example, in the recent Bush administration, we saw faith rather than evidence-based decision-making, which led to one disaster after another. The war in Iraq being a prime example of faith-based decision-making. Excuse me?
Could you clarify that? How was that a faith-based decision?
Well, it wasn't based on the data, that's all. It wasn't based on scientific evidence. It was based on the belief that somehow these weapons of mass destruction had to be there. That was kind of, it wasn't, yeah, he didn't get it from God, presumably, but he got it from that kind of thinking process. That's what I mean. So I think we still have to question that sort of thing. You know how the Christians say, hate the sin, but love the sinner? Well, new atheists can say, hate the belief, but love the believer. So basically what the new atheists say is wrong, even immoral about religion, is that it encourages all kinds of nonsensical beliefs. If you believe a man born of a virgin rose from the dead, you'll believe anything. even that cutting taxes for the rich will make jobs for the poor and the middle class. So the new atheists are committed to helping accelerate the trend away from religion that is already occurring in the United States and has clearly taken hold in other parts of the world. And we ask everybody, to take a harder line against the follies and atrocities that are produced by irrational thinking and religion. Imagine a world without religion. Thanks very much.